on West 6th Street. This incident started with the calls for a male shooting at Buford's Bar on West 6th Street. Officers immediately
Oh, okay, because I keep getting phone calls. People are asking me if I'm okay. Everyone who knows me knows, yeah, I live in Houston, but I work in Austin, Texas. So I party on 6th Street. I hang out at Buford's. I hang out at Pop. I hang out at Play. I hang out at that rooftop bar above them. I literally live in Austin, but I also live in Houston. I'm back and forth. At the moment, I actually canceled my trip to Austin. I was actually supposed to be in Austin since the Super Bowl, but I was sick, so I stayed in Arizona. This is my go-to. It's right across from the food trucks. I literally party at Buford's. So people keep asking me if I'm okay. I wasn't there last night when this happened, but you can't say I'm crazy anymore. You know, I told people that, hey, for the past few years, they've been building up this army. I call it the Black Army, but I spell black, BLAQ Army, hashtag Black Army. And what it is it's a combination of the Black community and the gay community. And they have been radicalized by the media. They've been allowed to make racist threats against white Americans, their children, their women. They've been allowed to just say whatever they want to, evil, racist, nasty, threatening with them with violence for the past, 5-6 years using social media. I noticed the pattern. You can't threaten any other group, but yet it's just carte blanche. You can say whatever you want evil about white people. So I started talking about it and I was like, it seems like they're building up an army and it's usually just blacks and gays. And you look at who are the people that hate Trump the most, blacks and gays. Who are the people that are literally hoping Iran attacks the United States? Blacks and gays. If the Chinese and the Russians put tanks on Flatbush Avenue in New York, who would jump on top of their tanks and start twerking and try to help the Russians and Chinese hunt down conservative Americans? Blacks and gays. The only two groups in this country that we have to worry about. The only two groups in this country, we had to borrow Epstein to create a vaccine to help us kind of, when they said we need to get rid of the poor people, that was code word for the black people. It's because there is a threat. In the United States, we don't have a race problem, but we do have a problem race. So I told people, the media, if the suspect is black, if the terrorist is black, the media will do a complete media blackout and they will cover it up and hide it. Had a white person walked into Buford's and opened up fire, his face would be plastered everywhere. All you would hear about for the next month or two would be about the name of this white person if he was a straight white male. But he wasn't. See, if it was a trans kid, they're going to brush it under the rug. But if it's a black person, especially a black male, see, they need black people. They are going to be the ones that are going to do the attacks against white people. They are the attack dogs of the Democrat Party and the left. The reason judges are going against the prosecutors all of a sudden and the police recommendations and letting murderers and killers back onto the streets is because they're hoping and praying their next victims are going to be someone who's white. This is a war. The judges are activists. Even if they're white and they're a judge themselves, remember, if you're white and you're gay, you don't consider yourself white, you're gay. So a lot of these judges are gays. They hate white people. You never notice that you'll see a white judge or a white person who's sitting there talking about white supremacy and how evil white people are? It's because they're gays. They don't see themselves as white too. You just don't understand that because you don't really have enough conversations with them. And there's a few situations like that throughout society where you'll assume a person's a part of one group, but they're a part of another and they're just manipulating you and you don't even realize it. It's just like, for example, you'll see that there'll be a white person, they'll be talking about how much they hate white people, how evil white people are. But not only are they gay, but they're Jewish. And you're like, wait a minute, you're not even white yourself. Why are you saying all of this? And then you find out that it's just all a manipulation. It's a con. You got to understand, being an American, it means you're powerful. You're powerful because of the first two amendments you have. You have the power of your words. You have the power of the tongue. You can speak freely. on the internet. This is something that is extremely rare and not allowed anywhere else on earth. In most other civilized first world countries, the conversations that I have every single day on my channel with all the videos I post, if I was in another country, I would get a knock on the door and I would be promptly arrested. So that's one thing that makes us powerful. For two, we're armed. We have weapons. Because of that, it separates us from everybody else. This is not the kind of country you can just invade and hand-to-hand combat. For one thing, we're large in stature. We're armed. We have the First Amendment. So what you have to do is you have to convince Americans to fight with other Americans. And that's why the propaganda and the manipulation is so strong and heavily focused on us. This story, this mass shooting terrorist attack, is going to be swept under the rug. By Wednesday, you won't hear anything else about it because it was a black killer, a black terrorist. He specifically went into a white club and specifically targeted white people. This was a race-based terror attack. I know this because the only two black clubs pretty much in the area are directly across the street. One is called Pop, one is called Play. They're both densely populated clubs full of blacks and other ethnics. But he went across the street to the white club as a black man. He could have went into the black club. He didn't. He targeted the white people specifically. It wasn't a crime of convenience because he had a choice. It wasn't like he was somewhere where there were no other races. All the other races are literally partying across the street in Pop and Play. There are two bars that are connected to one another. He went to the white club and he targeted white people specifically, but nobody else is going to get on the internet and talk to you about that. Luckily, I live in Austin. I know the demographics. I know the area. I know the city. I know these bars. I frequent them. I live there. I still live there. I'm actually supposed to be back in Texas this week. I'm in Scottsdale right now. It's a shame to see this happening in our own backyard. I hate to see my predictions come true. I predicted last night and on my live and earlier today, I said, you know what? Trump has spies in Iran. They're the ones who sold out the Ayatollah and all the other parts of the regime, told the Americans where they lived, when they're going to be home, just so they can make sure everybody get hit at once. Because they were hoping once that regime is eliminated, they're going to be up next. But see, after the regime was eliminated in Iran, the bombings continued. So I said, it sounds to me like Trump's taking a big gamble because he's risking killing the exact people he's looking to regime change and put in power. Now the reports, Trump's getting on X and he's apologizing, saying that he might have accidentally killed the people he was looking to put in power in Iran. The spies who sold out their own country, their own people, their own society for American dollars and the chance that they can come to the United States and be gay for a while. They just sold out their countries and now they are burning because they are eliminated also. See, that's the thing about a snake. You'll bite someone and then you'll end up biting yourself in the back as well. Nothing good can come of harming good people. I was just, I'm a fan of Asmongold. I'm noticing he's a fucking war hawk. He's literally so proud that a country that was no threat to us was just literally attacked unprovoked, and their leader, their religious leader, their pope of the Islamic world, him and his entire family, his bloodline, his granddaughter, his son, they're all having a family day at home, and then they're all killed in an unnecessary strike. They could have flown somewhere safe or been underground, but they didn't feel they needed to hide. They should have been safe in their own homes. They're not threatening anyone. Just because people don't like you doesn't mean you can go out and just kill them. Even a fan, and I like Asmongold on a lot of different things, but the fact that he's literally celebrating death, that's not a good thing. It's not. And it's unfortunate how this pendulum swings. The things that'll make you laugh one day will make you cry. And I see so much of that going on here in the United States. It scares me because eventually the pendulum will swing. I don't want it to. We should be against all death. The reason Hillary Clinton lost the election is because she giggled like a schoolgirl when they told her Gaddafi was killed, and she did it on video. It makes people look at you like you're not human. Even your worst enemies, you should feel something when they hit tragedy. It's not something you should be celebrating or proud of. Death is always a bad thing. Life is precious, even life of your enemies. But when you see people who you think are good people, but you find out they're war hawks and they think that we're just indestructible, we're invincible, that's unhealthy, because you start to let your guard down because you're pretending that nothing can happen, and that's not true. You must respect your enemies and their capabilities. And obviously, we don't have any respect for anyone. And now look what's happening to us here. Anyone can be touched. And that's the official count of death as of today. They said there's 3 people, but there were so many people shot that there could be more that might die subsequently in the coming days or weeks. So it's a tragedy all around. I see people that are celebrating the deaths of these people in Austin because they're white. And I'm seeing people celebrating the death of those people in Iran because they're from Iran. It's not like they hurt anyone or did anything. They're trying to make up all these nebulous excuses to justify it. And I'm looking at Twitter, Black Twitter, and they're justifying why these white people in Austin deserve to be killed just because of how they were born. But see, you can't say the same thing against them or you'd be considered a racist or a Jim Crow. They'll yell out slavery and oppression and roots, and they'll call you Kizzy Kente and Chicken George and buck breaking, anything to justify them being evil and literally having an agenda to kill all white people in an effort to attain some type of revenge, not for slavery that they experienced themselves personally, but just the stories that there's no verification that even though any of those stories of slavery are even true to begin with. It's a sick time that we're in, but I don't want to, let's go back to this story. Let's see what they're saying on the news.
Positioned, came over East 6th to West 6th Street, and were faced with the individual with a gun, and 3 of our officers returned fire, killing the suspect.
We received the call at 1:59 a.m. and within 57 seconds, the first paramedics and officers were on scene actively treating the patients. We had a total of 17 patients on the scene. 14 of those were transported to the hospital. 3 were pronounced dead on scene. Of the 14 patients who were transported to the hospital, 3 were in critical condition. And as I said, our condolences go out to everyone that was involved, and we'll be back with more information in the future.
You know, in my opinion, a little bit of racism could have mitigated some of the damage. They seen a black guy walking up with a gun, but nobody wanted to profile him because that'd be racist. What do you mean? A black guy can't just walk into a club full of white people with an automatic machine gun and a shirt that says property of Allah? That's racist. I'm so sick of that fucking word being applied to everything. Did you know yesterday some idiot black person was screaming about how the air is racist because the air in certain areas is different than the air where black people, like, I'm so sick of that fucking word and that excuse and that crutch to be able to justify some of these heinous acts of violence and to justify the violence in general. This is a problem we all worry about. A Waymo, a driverless victim, and the paramedics and people are yelling at it to move and honking at it. Why are you honking at it? There's no driver.
Go! Go!
And this is actually blocking the emergency response vehicles that are on their way to the terror attack. Let's not call it a mass shooting. It's a terror attack. He was found with an Iranian flag in his car. He was wearing a shirt that says property of Allah with a Quran in the car. Obviously, then he's obviously black. So that means he has a deep-seated hatred for anyone white in America. And people will get on here and try to be in denial as if they don't know any. Have you ever talked to a black person? Give them 3 minutes and scratch the surface a little bit. They'll let you know how they feel about white people and that their fantasies are to do what Carmelo Anthony did and to kill white kids. That's what they want to do. They do it at daycares. They're doing it on buses, on trains, subways. These black army attacks are not promoted in the media, so you don't think they're happening. I'm keeping score of, right? I keep score of them. I keep track of them on my Instagram page. You can follow me, Rico Limbaugh, Wing RICO, not just on YouTube, but on Instagram. I literally keep track of these stories, and I'm not just sharing random information on social media. I'm telling you a story. I'm showing you a pattern. You have to use pattern recognition if you're going to survive, because this is coming to a city near you. I was sick last week, or I would have been in Austin, and I always go to 6th Street on the weekends. This is West 6. I'm always here. Buford is my go-to. I hop around. It would have been just my luck had I not been sick since they started spraying all that shit in the skies out here. And now, look, even the emergency vehicles can't move because of Waymo. But what are the odds of Waymo is just all of a sudden parallel parking in front of a crime scene, and then EMS can't get through? I guess we're supposed to think it was just a weird coincidence, a minor malfunction, right?
I mean, she's not gonna go any further.
Yo, we just need to get in it, I think.
Wow. Now, this picture, had he been white or in a straight white male, this picture would have been plastered all over every nightly news, all international news, nationwide. It would have been everywhere. Jasmine Crockett would have done a speech tomorrow talking about, I told you the most dangerous people in the country are straight white males, Trump supporting white males. And then Ilhan Omar, married to a white person, said the same. AOC would have echoed it, married to a white man, still the same. It's all a coordinated attack. There's no way you can be in denial about it now. Nobody can say I'm wrong. Nobody can say I'm exaggerating. Nobody can say it's a theory. My theory has come true. So it's a fact now. You can verify it. You can actually look into the data that I share. And if you come up to the same conclusion, then that means we can basically say this is a fact. We both verified it and came up with the same findings. Property of a lie is written on his shirt. And he walked into Buford's bar on 6. So if you look at where Buford's is on 6, it's parallel to another black club, black and Latino club called Play and Plop. It's Play and Pop. There are two clubs that are connected to each other, catty corner directly across the street from Buford's. He chose Buford because Buford's is like a country western bar. I believe they have a mechanical bull sometimes. They play country western music, big open area, mainly for white kids from UT. They go there to party. It's not a black club. They're not playing hip hop. They're playing other music. He had a choice. He could have went to the club full of the ethnic urban people, or he could have crossed the street and went to Buford's. He chose Buford's for a reason. He specifically targeted white people. You know this because he had a choice, and he went for the white people. So this was a direct terrorist attack, a race-based terrorist attack, and nobody is talking about it except for me, which I find strange because it's obvious. Maybe there's not a lot of creators or people like myself who are familiar with Austin or who live in Austin. Maybe I have a unique perspective being that I'm a resident there. But this is obvious. At this point, this is obvious.
We begin tonight with breaking news from Austin. 3 people have died, including the suspect, and 14 others were hurt in a mass shooting outside of a bar in an area known for busy nightlife. Hello again, everyone. I'm Tom Abrams. Law enforcement sources identified the suspect. Others were hurt in a...
So I'm looking at the stairs right here. I believe these are the stairs. These could be the stairs in front of Pop and Play, because there's a ramp right here, and you can walk up the ramp or you can come up through the front. So Buford's, like I said, it's right across the street from Pop and Play. And there's a apartment building. This is the green room. This is another bar. And then this is where parking, you can start parking on the street. Then you get to the overpass There's like a bridge over here. Yeah, I know right where this is. I'm here every weekend. This is horrifying. But the beautiful thing is we're in Texas, right? Our police, our law enforcement was there in a matter of seconds, and he was executed. Good men with guns showed up. This wasn't like what just happened in Canada when the trans kid went berserk and shot 30 kids, and then he had so much time on his hands, he got bored of shooting other people and just decided to shoot himself. Because the cops that showed up didn't have guns, and the cops that came after them didn't have guns. They had to send somebody with the code to go get a gun because they're so restricted in Canada. And everything around the school has rainbows and all this weird bullshit. So people are hesitant to be men and do what's right and actually defend others. We didn't have any of those restrictions. This man was iced promptly. But unfortunately, several people didn't make it, and who knows where these injuries are going to lead in the coming days. This just happened, less than 24 hours ago, which is unfortunate.
Mass shooting outside of a bar in an area known for busy nightlife. Hello again, everyone. I'm Tom Abrams. Law enforcement sources identified the suspect as a 53-year-old man from Pflugerville, a suburb north of Austin. The FBI saying tonight it is investigating this as a potential act of terrorism.
It's crazy. I was just at a furniture living spaces in Pflugerville buying some more furniture for my rental. And I was always like trying to figure out how the fuck do you pronounce this? Such a stupid looking name of a city, Pflugerville. And apparently that's where the urbans live. They don't live in the domain. They don't live where we live in East Austin or close to 6. They all live out in Pflugerville. And now you hear that this guy's a resident of Pflugerville sitting around. And I bet you he's been saying evil, racist shit against white people for years. And no one stopped him. No one reported him to the police. He didn't receive any strikes on Facebook or X. He's allowed to just carte blanche insult and say evil things as long as he keeps it about white people only. And when you start getting away with it for so long, you start to think that it's legal and that maybe you're doing the right thing because they're promoting that hate against white people. They're promoting that anger. They want you to believe every white person is your enemy. The reason you're a poor piece of shit, slave, bum, loser, the reason you have all these problems, the reason you don't have a relationship, you're not married, you have no kids, the reason you lost your job, it's not because you're always late or because they caught you stealing. It's because you're black. That's what it is. It's racism. Even though they hired you, they were racist to fire you, but wouldn't racism have stopped them from hiring you to begin with? But the logic is racist. Reality is racist. The truth is racist. Matter of fact, this guy walking up with a machine gun, if the police had arrested him before he shot someone, that would be considered racist too. Matter of fact, is the racist in the room with you right now? Blink twice. It's everywhere. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And a little bit of racism, a little bit of pattern recognition, a little bit of people saying, wait a minute, something's wrong with this. There's a guy with a gun walking up to this bar. Maybe if we stop him ahead of time or, run. Oh, wait a minute. So you see a black guy with a gun. You think I'm about to rob you? Yes, motherfucker, or killed. What do you mean? 65% of all the violent crime, 8% of the population. But I'm the crazy one for being a little sketched out when I see you walk up with a gun. But again, this is Austin. A lot of the white people are liberal. They seen the black guy with a gun. Oh, hey, he's probably just a gun. He probably just likes guns. Not going to be any harm. They're harmless. 65% of all the violent crime. Only if you're a racist Trump supporter do you believe FBI statistics. Now you're Swiss cheese. All because you were afraid to use your God-given senses. Pattern recognition means you are coherent and you're alert. If the nickname for having pattern recognition is racism, then wear it as a badge of honor. Racism means you're restricting somebody. I'm not restricting you from doing shit because I notice a pattern with you. I'm just avoiding you. I'm not stopping you from doing something. I'm just stopping myself and my kids from being anywhere the fuck around you or near you. I'm restricting myself, not restricting you. No one wants to live around these people. They're dangerous. This is what case study 50,425 reason why they are considered dangerous. But Biden's the bad guy. He said they're monsters. So I guess we should blame, Biden. Was he some kind of savant? He was some kind of fortune teller. How did he know in 93? Called them super predators. It's weird. Maybe I guess everybody's wrong, right? Everybody's crazy. I'm crazy. They're crazy. We're all just evil. Martin Luther King. Everybody's great. Everybody's just they're victims. Not as a matter of fact, he's the victim of oppression because the police killed him. Not that he killed those people. That's why the police killed him. No, the police killed him because he's black. Let the black people tell it. If he was a white kid that did a mass shooting, the police would have took him to Burger King. Black people love bringing that shit up. You got to stop letting them manipulate you, or they're going to kill you and your kids eventually. You got to keep that in mind. We are in dangerous times, and you have to have your wits about yourself.
Yeah, you can still see this area is completely taped off, and a lot of law enforcement still here processing this scene. This happened at that bar over there called Buford's here on West 6th Street in Austin. But here's video of what it looked like earlier this morning. Law enforcement says the original call came in around 2 a.m. regarding someone shooting around the bar Buford's. Authorities say the suspect drove around the block.
Oh, there's absolutely a pattern of trans people committing crimes. 1,000%. But remember, who did I say makes up the Black Army? BLAQ Army. Look up the hashtag on Instagram. It's blacks and gays. Obviously, trans are gays. Trans are a part of the gays. So blacks and gays, blacks and trans, they all make up the Black Army. Is there a pattern? Absolutely. Because anybody who's a human but doesn't believe in family won't ever have a family. Those are the people who have nothing to lose. They care about nothing. If you're a trans, you're never going to have a wife or a husband. You're never going to have kids. You're never going to reproduce. You have no investment in tomorrow. Same thing goes for those full-time gay people. No investment in tomorrow. They'll never be able to reproduce. Two men can't rub their mustaches together and magically produce a child. Two women can't scissor or make a bunch of kitten mittens and beanies for hamsters and then all of a sudden give birth. That's not how it works. Okay? Not in the real world. And if you're black, but you believe in abortion and you believe in slavery and buck breaking, and you have all these other mental illnesses happening with you, you're not going to be stable enough mentally to want to have a family unless you're going to be perpetuating the victimhood mentality, which a lot of men who are conservative are going to shy away from. It's really a lot of women that subscribe to that delusion of white supremacy and racism. It's a lot of the black women. So that's why a lot of the black men, they don't argue with them no more. They have passports and they just go start families with women of other backgrounds. It's the only option you have. It's not like you're going to just not have a family. You're just not going to have a family with them. A lot of, like I said, it's pattern recognition. There are patterns. And think about it. People keep bringing up Nazi Germany. Well, let's bring it up now. They saw a pattern in the people that were pushing the gay and trans agenda. They were creating literature and they were passing it out to children. So what did the children do? Well, they burnt the literature. And then what did the German people demand that the government do? Well, put the people that were trying to pervert the children and the people who were pushing that ideology, they wanted the government to remove them from society, but they didn't want to exterminate them. So they put them in camps. See, there's a lot of parts of history that are missing. What I'll do is I'll help fill in the gaps. If you don't want to do the reading, I'll do it for you. And then what you do is you go back and you fact check me. Okay?
Near the bar several times before he fired at people in front of the bar and on the bar's patio from his vehicle with a pistol. Then police say he drove west on 6th Street, parked his car, got out with a rifle, and shot at people walking by. Austin police say he continued to walk east on 6th Street, where officers then confronted him, returned fire, and killed the man. According to law enforcement sources, he was identified as 53-year-old Ndiaga Diagne from Pflugerville, who was born in Senegal and was a naturalized citizen. A law enforcement source has confirmed this photo, first obtained by Fox News.
Yeah, I don't care if you're naturalized. I don't give a shit. I don't want any of these foreigners here anymore. No new ones. Borders closed. No immigration at all. And guess what? If you're another country, don't let us come over there either. You close your borders, you shut down immigration, we do the same. We need a 10-year moratorium. No new Americans, no new people. We're full. Every job in America, we need all of them for Americans and our kids. Excuse me, I don't want to see foreigners working for half price building roofs anymore. My kids need to build those roofs. They need the training, they need the jobs, they need the experience. America has to be for Americans. Imagine you are in such a fucked up situation in your home country. You beg us on your fucking hands and knees for asylum. We give it to you. You come over here, you get on welfare, and you complain about the very people that saved your shitty punk ass from your shithole country. And then you radicalize yourself by listening to Dr. fucking Umar and Jasmine Crockett and all these other piece of shit and ethnics, to the point where you decide to grab a gun and go target white people. Close the borders, profile them all, gradually find ways to start to separate people. The 1964 Civil Rights Act should be repealed. Redlining should also be something that is reconsidered. Everybody should not be mixing together. We don't do good. All cultures are not the same. All cultures do not belong together. Some people of certain cultures don't value life the way others do, i.e., rap music. Their entire community is literally about celebrating murder and death. So black culture celebrates murder and death. White culture literally has to put those people away and lock them up for murder and death. The two cultures cannot coexist. We've never been able to do it. We have 40, 50 years of a case study. There's never been an harmonious time between the two cultures. Black culture and American culture do not mix. And you're enforcing people to live around people that hate them in the name of equality and integration. That's a failed policy. You should have the right to not want to deal with people you don't want to deal with, or you should have the right to say, I don't want to live around these fucking people. They don't value life. They would be more than happy to let their kids kill my kids. I don't want to live around you. I don't. Why did he want to drive from Pflugerville all the way to downtown Austin? That's a 40-minute drive or so? With a gun. Why did he drive down there and go to a white club? But you don't want to think about Jasmine Crockett. You don't want to think about Kamala or the bullshit. What's that other man dressed as a woman? Fucking Big Mike. He's on the internet. Oh, white people, this, and I don't want to go around white. What do you think that all leads to when you're living with a simple-minded, low IQ fucking monster? What do you think that all eventually adds up to? It's a perfect storm in the mind of a simple person. This is the byproduct. This is the end result. How many more of these attacks? Irina from the Ukraine, she was the victim of a Black Army operative, a Black Army attack just like this one. How many more victims do we need before people are going to say, you know what, maybe this guy Rico Limbaugh has a point? Or are you going to keep letting them convince you that I'm wrong, I'm evil, I'm the one that's hateful because I notice a pattern and I'm trying to avoid it, so I'm the bad guy? You're going to let them convince you to watch out for me, but not watch out for him? You know what? If you knew better, you do better. I can show you to the water. I'm never going to be able to force you to drink.
Shows him. According to sources, the suspect was wearing clothing that made reference to Allah and wearing a t-shirt that referenced Iran.
Obviously, it's still way too early in the process to determine an exact motivation, but there were indicators that on the subject and in his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism.
Now, this is a liberal city in Texas. It's basically a cutout of Santa Monica, California, mixed with West Hollywood, mixed with San Francisco. You combine them all, right? You go grab about 20 pounds of dog shit, you pour it on top and you shake it up in a bag, and boom, you have Austin. And you just put a really expensive price tag on nothing. and then and then you add a bunch of rainbow flags and Beto O'Rourke signs, and you have Austin. That's what you have. They don't have Texas rules there. They think they're in California, but the worst parts of California. They don't believe in guns. They don't even believe in free speech. They don't believe in families. You know what's crazy about Austin? I was just talking to somebody else who I met here in Arizona, but she used to live in Austin too. The weirdest thing about Austin, you'll notice, is when you live there, there's no kids, no children. You never see people with strollers or at parks or kids. There's no kids, because the culture of the city, unless you're in the hill country, the culture of the city is gay. Everything is gay. Everything is trans. Everything is adult men with beards walking around in pink tutus and floating around. And then you find out they all get caught with kiddie porn and grooming kids. And that's why they want to do drag queen story hour, all this. And then they show up to protect them while they're grooming kids, men dressed as women. And it's like the weirdest fucking place. Very anti-American, very, very anti-Texas, right? But you notice this. It's crazy that you know, we can all live in the same country, same state, different world. But these worlds are no longer going to be able to just coexist. We can't coexist with people that want to kill us and take our kids. We can't. If as adult Americans we're not doing whatever we can, which includes risking our own lives to protect our children, then what good are we? You tell me. I don't know what good we are. We can't protect our children, then what are we? What are we? People lost their children today. They're not going to even go. They're not even, look how easy they're going in this press conference. They're not even mad because he's black. They can't get mad. These are liberals. They need the blacks. The blacks are their security guards. The blacks are their weapons. Them turning on the blacks would be like us down talking the need for having guns. You can't do that. For a liberal, a black is your gun. That's why they walk away when there's a confrontation once the blacks show up, because they need the blacks. They can't afford to get into it with them. You're their attack dogs. That's why they're not going too hard. That's why they're not sharing his picture. That's why they're not saying too much. I want to offend the killers. We need them. Later, we're going to need them. But this is also ties back to when J.D. Vance said, we no longer have to apologize for being white. People were confused. What does he mean by that? This is what the fuck he means. See, the typical thing for a liberal to do would be like, I'm so sorry that as a white person, I provoked you to come in here and commit a terrorist attack against other white people. We're sorry. Forgive us. Take your black ass feet out your shoe. Let us kiss them. Where's the George Floyd statue? I want to go pray to it. Me and Nancy Pelosi, we're going to go get on our knees and pray to Saint Floyd. That's the reality we're living in. And we're going to change it. We're going to change that reality.
Governor Abbott released a statement saying in part that he directed DPS to increase patrols and law enforcement in the 6th Street district during the weekends. There's a lot of bars over here and restaurants. And this is an area that a lot of...
Lone Wolf, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's a full-time job to keep Democrats' hands off of our children, because they want your children to turn against you and go to them. They want to mutilate your children so that your children will never reproduce. They want you dead. They want your bloodline gone. There will be nobody left if the Democrats are back in charge, and they keep offering you death. That's why when these people keep talking to me, I keep seeing these people, they're already threatening to commit fraud. They want the illegal votes. And I'm like, why are you in such a hurry for Democrats who are trying to kill you to get back in power? What do you gain from that? If you're suicidal, you don't need the Democrats to win the election for you to go do your thing. Handle your candle. Why do you need the Democrats to be in charge if you're already on the edge? You're already suicidal. Why do you need the Democrats to win for you to do that? You don't. So because they're not offering you anything besides death. Death is free. You don't need to pay for death. You don't need somebody to win an election due to fraud for you to have access to death. There's no such thing as healthcare is another word for death until you're talking about abortions. But you're an adult. You know how much of that's a super late term abortion. You don't need the Democrats to win for you to handle that. So I don't understand what the point of you trying to commit fraud so Democrats can get in power. What did you get from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris being in power for all those years? What did you get? Nobody can ever explain to me anything. I can tell them all the benefits of Trump. I can tell them the benefits of Trump in 2019, 2026. I can tell you every single thing. Nobody can ever tell me what Kamala offered them, what her policies were. They can't tell me shit about, they can't tell me nothing about Jasmine Crockett. All they can tell me about is what the bitch looks like. She's cute, but she's an airhead. She's been in politics already. What has she accomplished? Like you want to vote for her because she insults white people on your behalf. And then you wonder why eventually somebody black grabs a gun and particularly goes after white people. That's why they want to put her in power, because she's encouraging these racist terror attacks against whites. I'm going to clip this. This is going to be in my shorts. You will be able to hear this over and over again. That's the reason why they put people like Jasmine Crockett and they amplify her and they try to get her into politics, because that's all she's good for. Insulting Trump, insulting white people. And eventually they hope it will eventually inspire a low IQ, slow, borderline autistic black person to grab a gun and commit a terrorist attack against white people. They blame white people for all their problems, even when they have nothing to do with them. All of our black politicians do the same exact thing. People were trying to sell me on Stephen A. Smith. I said he still considers himself black. He doesn't call himself an American. He calls himself a color. So that means when push comes to shove, he's going to always revert back to his default setting, which is a color. It should be his default setting is an American. He's a human. He's an American. He has a nationality, has a religion, ethnicity. But no. When you revert back to being a color, you have nothing. That just means you're confused. So yeah, he has some good takes for now, but you can't vote for him. You couldn't put him in power anywhere, because at the end of the day, he's always only going to be a color. No matter how you dress it up, he's never going to see himself as any more or any less. And that's a problem, because they are the ones who are literally inspiring and pushing these attacks. All they see are two colors, black and white, a binary system, a mind of mental illness, and they're battling it every day, conflicted. Why do you think there's so many issues with them? They're hearing voices. They feel like there's white people tormenting them at every step. And then you wonder why one to grab a machine gun and walk into a bar where people that are white are having a good time and open up fire. You shouldn't be confused. I literally just explained to you who, what, when, where, why, and how. Now you know. If you don't know, it's because you're in denial, but you can't unhear what you've heard today. It'll stick with you. You'll figure it out.
UT students also visit as well. Now, law enforcement has not released any information on the victims, but I wanted to mention this statement from the president of UT. He said, quote, "Our prayers are with the victims and all those impacted, including members of our Longhorn family, and my heart goes out to their families, friends, classmates, professors, and loved ones." Ultimately, still a lot of questions and so many people impacted by this.
Oh my God. What's going on?
You know, Austin right here is typically packed full of cars, full of people. Everyone's having drinks, having a good time, enjoying life. You're in Texas. Doesn't get much better than living in Texas as an American. You discover that once you leave California. Until then, you think California is the best place on earth. It's the bee's knees until you get a taste of that good old Texas life. I was fortunate enough to go to Houston first. Then I moved to Austin. Austin was way too weird. So I went back to Houston, but I still do business in Austin. To see this is what 6th Street looks like on a night that I would have been there, it makes me feel some type of way, and it breaks my heart. The cities, people are going to rebound. They're going to still go out, but there's going to be this memory in the back of their mind. It's not going to be the same. And now, if you're smart, you have to watch all black people, because you don't know which one is going to be affected by that mind virus and snap next, because they keep platforming and amplifying the voices of the Crockett's, the Umar Johnsons, those the Al Greens, the ones who lay heavy on the anti-white, anti-American push, but they won't leave the country and move to Africa and learn to speak Swahili. No. They're going to stay in this predominantly white country, a white religion. They're going to still speak English, which is a white language from a white land called England. So they're not really serious about it. They're just maniacal. They're evil. They want to kill. They want to hurt, which is why they won't leave. They could go explore another country, learn another language, and start a new life and never have to deal with Trump, ICE, racism, oppression, whatever the fucking bullshit they make up. They won't have to ever see it again if they just leave, but they won't. They want to stay here and commit terror attacks against you, or if they're too scared to do it, they're going to donate to the GoFundMes of blacks who do it on their behalf, like Carmelo Anthony. They blessed him with hundreds of thousands of dollars to his family just because he killed a white kid on their behalf. And we allowed it to happen. We're allowing the GoFundMe. We're allowing the fundraisers. We're letting them do this and encourage copycat terrorist attacks like this one. I'll be honest, 50% is their fault, 50% is ours for allowing it. We must hold some accountability. We're not doing our jobs as patriots and Americans to prevent this. We must remove these people from our society. We can't coexist with them anymore. All of them have to go, one way or the other. Yeah, Mandami is one of those other plants as well. He's literally, it's crazy. Today, what was it? Ted Cruz was like, "Oh, you're a communist and you support the Iranians." And you know what Mandami had to say? He's like, "Duh, motherfucker, I ran on that. I literally ran on all the things you're thinking are insults. Don't forget, my supporters who are not of American descent, they are not American born. My supporters agree with me because I share these views. They've taken our great American cities, and the ones they can't take, they're sending their terrorists in to do this. And you don't have to get a direct order. No one had to send a text to this man to go do it. He figured it out on his own. He read between the lines. This is what this leads up to. This is what the Black Army propaganda in the media, when I said the media is creating these people, this is what it's doing. It's turning their brains into mush and telling them that this is the only way they're going to find freedom and equality and a fight. That they're fighting white supremacy by going and killing young white kids at bars or children in daycares or at grocery stores, whatever. This is what's happening around us, and it's up to us to prevent it, and we're not doing a good job. We're too afraid to offend people. Well, the good thing is for me, I've lost that fear. Fuck them. We'll offend them all.
Oh my God.
Paul Warner, I disagree with you. Yes, it is. If you have any proof to say otherwise, present it. But as of now, you're wrong.
What's going on? Jesus fucking Christ.
I know this because I'm from the hood. I know that I've been around it for years. Lived experience. It's not just a hunch. It's not just an assumption. I've actually documented it carefully for years. And I've made a discernible determination, and I'm sharing it with you. Now, if you might say I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Go to a black neighborhood tomorrow, park your car, and just walk into a liquor store and walk out. Hang around the area. Go see the sights. See if you make it home tomorrow. Prove me wrong, right? Prove me wrong. Go do it. Let's see how that goes. Because there's a reason why as soon as somebody black gets money, they move as far away from black people as possible. But but you're saying I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, then when they get money, they would just invest in their neighborhood and stay around black people. Why are they leaving if I'm wrong? See, the behavior is showing that, unfortunately, you're incorrect about your assumption. So again, reality is not in sync with the assumption. I'm going off of reality. I'm removing emotions from this. I feel no type of way at all. I don't feel anything. I'm going off of the results. I'm going off of logic. I'm going off of reality. So that could be why we're looking at it and we're seeing something completely different than one another.
What the fuck?
It's a shame. You know, again, we have to do better. We have to profile people. We're going to have to break some of the norms. At one point in time, there were internment camps for Japanese until we were able to see who would be allowed to stay or where their loyalties lie. In my opinion, we're back to those times where that needs to happen. There are two groups in particular who are daily committing terrorist attacks: the gay community and the black community. I know it's going to sound harsh, but what's more important, public safety or the public's feelings about public safety? In my opinion, public safety is more important than how certain people are going to feel emotionally. If there is a pattern of violence, of danger, if you put certain measures in place to mitigate the potential threats, if that's what it's going to take to keep children and society safe, then so be it. That's why I tell people deportation is mercy. Because if we don't deport you and we stay in this country, you're going to force us to put you in a box. It could be a box made of metal, or it could be a box made of pine. But either one of those boxes, me deporting you to another country where you can start a new life and you can be happy because you don't have to deal with Trump, that's mercy. That's better than the box. Let me know what you think about this topic. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me. I appreciate you guys all being in the comments. Yeah, I appreciate you, Lone Wolf and the Cub. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys subscribing. Subscribe to the channel. I do these episodes every day. I do a bunch of them. I keep getting let down by my favorite content creators. I start finding out that they're secret Zionists taking money to fucking attack Candace Owens, or they're war hawks cheering on and applauding battles that are going to send other people's children to die, but they're a little too chicken shit to suit up and go themselves. So I keep losing faith in some of my favorite people. So I had to personally start making my own content because I can't depend on anybody else to tell me what's going on. I need to have these conversations. I need to talk to you guys about it, and we need to figure it out on our own. We can't trust these people to spoon feed us information because, well, who's holding the spoon? And who's paying that person? Who's buttering their bows? Who's giving them instructions on what to and not to say? Personally, I don't have any of those restrictions. I say what I'm thinking and I give details and I'm able to explain myself. So it's a little bit different than what I'm seeing on X and from other people. So you guys being here means a lot. I do appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will be back on with another topic in about 20 minutes. I'll see you again shortly. And remember, it's America first and America.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.